Apostrophes, that little punctuation mark that trips up some writers when they're figuring out plural nouns or possession or contractions. So that's what this tutorial is about. Before we get to the rules, see how you're doing with this topic by looking at the following sentences. In most of these, you'll need to insert an apostrophe, but not all the time. So hit pause, write down your answers, and when you are ready, the correct answers are right here. Now, I won't explain the answers now. That's what the tutorial is about, but only tell you that 1, 2, and 3 have to do with the apostrophe for contractions. 4 and 5 are apostrophes with numbers and letters. 6 through 12 all have to do with apostrophes for possession. And just to be clear, numbers 4, 6, and 9, no apostrophes in those sentences. Okay, so let's move on to the nuts and bolts. When do you use an apostrophe? Well, there are 3 occasions. The first one is for contractions. With contractions, the apostrophe replaces a letter or sometimes more than a letter, like I can't drink milk. You're saying I can not, but you're getting rid of that N and O and replacing it with the apostrophe. Okay? Didn't, I didn't tell on you. The apostrophe is replacing the O in did not. It's fun. You're saying it is fun. The I is gone, replaced by the apostrophe. But keep reading that sentence. It's fun to watch a dog bite its tail. There's no apostrophe with that second it's. That is a possessive pronoun. And these 2 words so often get confused that I've made its own separate tutorial on it. So look for that. Now the final one is a little unusual. I won't race against you. Now what is that word won't saying? What is it? Is it woe not? No, it's actually would not. So the apostrophe is kind of replacing some letters, but not in the exact spot. So that's an unusual one. Now, the second use of apostrophes is for letters that are plural. And this makes logical sense. It helps to avoid confusion. Look at these samples. I always have trouble saying my F's. So the S's there, you want an apostrophe to separate the letter S from the indication that it's plural. Otherwise, it'd be really confusing having an S and an S, right? I got all A's on my test as opposed to I got all S on my test if there weren't an apostrophe there. So that is used to make things clear. However, do not use an apostrophe for plural numbers or decades, like the 70s was the decade of the hippies, man. 70s, you don't need an apostrophe there. There's no confusion. Makes sense. My figure eights need work, said the skater. So you don't need the apostrophe there, right? For eights, you understand it without it. So that's a distinction between the letters and the numbers, used for the letters to avoid confusion. And the third use is the most common, and that is to indicate possession. Use an apostrophe S when the noun owns something, possesses something, like Tim's hat, the cat's paw, the house's paint. Now, if you're unsure if possession is going on, turn it into an of phrase, like Tim's hat. What am I saying there? The hat of Tim? Yeah, that's it. Therefore, possession, therefore the apostrophe S. The cat's paw, well, that's the same as the paw of the cat, therefore the apostrophe. And the house's paint is really the paint of the house. So if that's what you're saying, then you want the apostrophe. Possession, ownership is going on. And here's a good spot for the grammar lady to visit us, saying, apostrophes are for possessives, not for plurals. That's important. Don't use an apostrophe to make a noun plural, like the 3 cats are fighting. No, there's no possession. It's plural. C-A-T-S. Some students have special needs. Is there possession? No, it's plural. More than one student. So no apostrophe, just an S after student. Now, to make clear the severity of this, remember, every time you use an apostrophe to make a word plural, a puppy dies. Therefore, no apostrophe when it's just a plural noun, and you add the apostrophe S when you're showing possession, like the preacher's sermon, the children's blankets. Sounds pretty straightforward, but there are some tricky situations. Like, what if the word is plural and it ends in S? Stars, tables, celebrities, and that noun is showing possession. What do you do there? Well, you add an apostrophe at the end, after the S, like the stars light. There are many stars in the sky and they all possess, own a light. So the apostrophe comes after you've established the plural nature of the stars. The tables, chairs, there's lots of them. Use the S to indicate it's plural, and yet they possess something. So the apostrophe comes after. The chairs of the 17 tables. Yep, the tables, chairs, apostrophe after the S. The celebrities. There's so many celebrities out there, and they all have stories. Celebrities, look at what it looks like for the plural form of that noun, and then the apostrophe comes after that. All right? So this is for plural possessive nouns. Now, as if English weren't complicated enough, what if the word is plural, but it doesn't end in S, like men, teeth, children, right? Those are all possessive nouns. Well, in these cases, you add the apostrophe S after that word. So again, establish the plural word. So we have men, and then the apostrophe comes after it. The men's room, the teeth's enamel, the children's crayons. All right, so all three are plural possessive, but they are in a very unique category. 98% of nouns have an S that comes right after the word itself, but not these unique words. And one last point, just to make sure you're clear on this. What if it's one of those words like hers, its, his, theirs? These are words that have possession. They're indicating possession. What do you do there? Do you put an apostrophe at the end? No, don't use an apostrophe because these words already are declaring possession. The problem is hers. Its tail is bushy. His eyebrows are gray. They all, by their very nature, are possessive words. So it would be redundant, excessive, to put an apostrophe as if to say this is a possessive and a possessive, in case it wasn't clear to you the first time around. Okay, so unique category of words, these possessive pronouns, no apostrophe with them. And finally, a few strange situations. Two of them. The first is when two nouns possess something, don't put the apostrophe S after both nouns, like it's a little clumsy, just after the second one. Mary and Bob's party was a hoot. Indiana and Ohio's border is a straight line. Second strange situation is with a compound noun that's hyphenated. You put the apostrophe S at the end, like the father-in-law's garage is clean. Okay, remember the test to make sure you even want the apostrophe. Turn it into an of phrase. The garage of the father-in-law is clean. Am I saying that? Yeah, I am. So you want the apostrophe that comes there. Now, two questions for you. Look at father-in-law. What do you do if there are three of them? How do you make father-in-law plural? Okay, think of that. And secondly, how would you make it plural possessive? Sounds strange? See what you can do with that. Well, in the first case, if the compound noun is plural, you add the S after that first word. There's no apostrophes anywhere. The fathers-in-law don't get along. Now, keep it plural and now make it possessive. What do you do then? Well, you go S crazy. You add both the S for plural and the apostrophe S for possession. The fathers-in-law's daughters are all crying. This situation will arise only once in your entire life, but when it does, people will fall down at your feet in admiration. I promise. Hit pause. You might get a kick out of Bob's take on apostrophes, and then move on a little bit, and there'll be one more diagnostic quiz to see if you have learned all of these things about apostrophes. So here they are. Hit pause and write down the words that need an apostrophe and leave alone those that want nothing at all. And when you're ready, move on to the answers, which are right here. Let me give a really quick explanation. Number one is a contraction. Did not. The apostrophe replaces the O. Two, it is. The apostrophe replacing that I. It's every day. That Safeway loves its customers. That second it's, no apostrophe at all. Three, it's a number, 50s, so no apostrophe is needed there, as opposed to number four, where it's a letter, the M's, so you want the apostrophe between the letter and the S. Five, it's just a plural noun, trumpets, no apostrophe. Six, violins, bow, there's just one violin, it possesses the bow, so you want apostrophe S, as opposed to number seven, where it's a plural possession. All of the violins, bows need rosin. So it's plural, with the S at the end of violin, possessing the bows, so you need the apostrophe. Eight, the home is ours. Ours is a possessive pronoun, no apostrophe needed. Children's, apostrophe S, it's the unusual form of a plural where it does not take an S, so you just want to establish the plural children, and then the apostrophe S comes after. Number 10, we have these two subjects that are possessing something, but remember, the possession only comes after the second one. So get rid of the S after Ford. Ford and Honda's directors are women. And finally, 11, commander-in-chiefs. This is a compound noun, hyphenated. The apostrophe comes after, at the end. And that's it for this tutorial on apostrophes. Remember, contractions for letters, but not numbers, for possession, and be wary of the plural nouns. And that's it. Got it? Okay, hope this helped you out. Bye-bye.